Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast with your hosts, Amy Babinchek, James Kernan, Amy Luby, and Carl Palachuk. Produced by and for the Small Biz Thoughts technology community. We're dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. I guess I'll start. This is Carl, and I'm here with James. How are you?
Hey, Carl, doing fantabulous. Doing good.
Super good. And so by the time this comes out, we'll be at ChannelCon, which is pretty amazing. So, and we'll be in Vegas because, you know, there's no place better than Vegas in August.
Right? I was just going to say it's the hottest place in the world right now, it seems like. So,
and then in a couple of weeks, I'm going to Nashville for exchange. So it's like, okay, yeah, what could be worse? Oh, yeah, you could add 90% humidity. That would be great.
Hey, look on the bright side. We got to look on the bright side. We'll both probably lose 10 pounds when we're there.
That's an excellent point. Although I do tend to drink beer when I'm on the road. I'm not saying I don't drink it when I'm not on the road. So
there you go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to ChannelCon. That'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. So we have a question of the week, but it's also part of the news, the notes from the news. So X is the social medium formerly known as Twitter. So the question of the week is, which social media should we be using? Should we all be on TikTok? Should we all be with dancing cats and doing sideways videos that are shorts on YouTube? And what's your thought on that?
So I'm asked that question a lot, and my answer is probably more of a simplified one, not very complex. But first and foremost, LinkedIn, I think, is important for individuals and for companies to market themselves. So LinkedIn would be number one. Number two, I would say Facebook, and I wouldn't have said that 2 years ago, but now I am. I think Facebook's important. And then Instagram is another interesting one that is becoming more and more successful. So to me, those would be the three primaries, and all those really are windows into your website or ways to drop lead magnets and create branding opportunities and visibility. So those would be the three I would mention.
No Pinterest.
No Pinterest, and you brought up TikTok, I mean, I've read way too many bad things about TikTok taking our information. And I've never gotten into that. Even people that will text me TikTok links, I don't like playing them because I just stay away from it. So too concerned about security. But
I see less worried about that in the sense of I control what information of mine I put on TikTok. So, you know what I mean? I'm not too freaked out about it. But what I care about is, where is my audience, right? If you're an MSP and you're going after local businesses, accountants, professionals, attorneys, are they on TikTok?
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people always say, well, yeah, but the younger crowd, this and that. And, you always hear these stats with social media that X% are doing this and whatever. And it's like, okay, is that where your clients are? Right. And at the end of the day, I love Facebook, but to me, Facebook is my playground and LinkedIn is where I do work. And I have broadcast on Twitter. I quit Twitter recently for other reasons, but the Instagram and even Pinterest, I post up. I do not have conversations with people. I don't try to interact with them. It is just for me, those are marketing opportunities. But I encourage people to pick one and make it your primary, and then engage in the others to the degree that you find them useful or something that will actually improve your business, right? So and your strategy that you said, this is a place to link back to your landing page. I think that's huge. I think you
Yeah.
have to have a web page that works. And there's so many people that, and you know this from the sales side of things, people confuse marketing and sales. And then they say, well, I posted up all this stuff on LinkedIn and nobody bought anything. And then you go look at their site and it sucks. And they have no call to action. And it's not a landing page. It's a really
Exactly.
boring, outdated website that's not informational. And if you looked at it, you'd say, I'm not sure I want to do business with these people, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And Carl, you bring up a really, really good point. There's a huge difference between sales and marketing. And social media is just marketing. It's marketing and branding. You drop lead magnets and you get people interested to talk to you. And if your call to action is going back to your website and your website sucks, you're not going to convert and you'll never have a sales opportunity. So, they all kind of flow together. But yeah, that's an important one. Like you, I like my playground. Instagram is more my playground, even though I'm trying to grow my audience there. That's more of the personal side of James Kernan. LinkedIn and Facebook are more branding, where I try to be more professional, but also I want my personality to come out a little bit on those as well, because that's just who I am.
yeah,
So
I have no personality on LinkedIn. Well, very little. So
come on, that's impossible. That's impossible.
whatever personality I might have is propped up on Facebook. So, but the other thing is every piece of your marketing has to do its job. And so LinkedIn's job is to get people to your website. Your website's job is to get them to fill out the form. So there has to be a form. You can't make people go fishing around like, how do I do business with this person, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. One last thing I'll say, a lot of people think they're good at social media and they know what they're doing. Social media changes all the time. And I think it's important that you get some professional help, at least with your strategy. Now, you could implement the plan yourself if you want to save money, but I'd always recommend, if you have the marketing budget to do it, lean on a professional to put that strategy together, and even an implementation plan, from links back to your site or to your landing page, because they walk through everything and they'll look at those things. Tags, tagging is really important, hashtags. So you want to make sure you have consistent ones that are applicable to your brand and what you're trying to do. So,
well, and I will say, I love Fiverr for this. If you go to Fiverr, FIVERR.com, it's no longer $5, but they have a lot of people that literally for $100 or $130, they will tune up your social media. They will say, okay, let's make consistent graphics. Let's make sure that we've got a call to action. Let's make sure we have a headline. Let's make sure that your keywords are all set up there. And, basically lots of little things that you can do that, it's like anything else. They know this stuff and I don't. So what the hell? Let them do what they get paid for, right? And it's not like it costs you $10,000 for a makeover. So
yeah, there you go.
So we're going to put our social media links in the show notes today, just so you can connect with us. So make sure that we get your links, James, and we'll make sure that they get posted.
You bet. You bet. Thank you.
Cool. So next news item, now everybody knows the stock market is not the economy, but the business reporters are starting to talk about something called the Magnificent Seven. So they used to have FANG and whatever, different acronyms that were all, Microsoft, Apple, that's always on the list. And then Netflix has dropped off the list. It's no longer considered one of the top investments, but Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, NVIDIA, Tesla, and Meta are the Magnificent Seven, and that group averages earnings. Their increase in earnings has been over 19% for the year, for the last 12 months. The rest, the other 493 members of the S&P 500 are less than half of that. They are at 8% increase in estimated earnings for the last 12 months. So they're the Magnificent Seven are dramatically outperforming the rest of the S&P 500. Should we care about this? Do we care that NVIDIA is on the list and they weren't last year, or that Tesla's on the list and they don't really, like they don't compete for the same dollars that Amazon does with regard to hosted services, for example?
Yeah. No, I think that list will continue to change. I mean, obviously those are the market leaders. It'll get updated and changed on a semi-regular basis. But those are businesses that I follow, and they've got they're doing most of the stuff right out there, not all the time, but most of the time. So I like following those businesses, and those are ones we need to pay attention to, I think. And
should we rely on these businesses more than businesses who are in the other 493 in the sense of, is Apple really too big to go anywhere? Microsoft too big to fail, and so forth?
Well, I think we need to look at the big picture. Carl, I'm going to age both you and I, but remember when Novell was the best thing since peanut butter and jelly, and Microsoft came and just wiped it off the map really quick. But I think they got a little cocky and sat on their laurels and didn't continue to innovate and evolve. So that specifically is why I like the companies that you listed. Some of them even kind of created new industries and paved the way. They're kind of pioneers. But from an innovation standpoint, I guess that's what I meant. Maybe not leadership or decision making or branding. I'm more attracted to those top 7 from an innovation standpoint, and I love studying that type of stuff.
What's interesting is I think Apple wants to be seen as innovative, but I think they're less innovative than they used to be. And Meta is trying to look innovative, and I don't think that they're having any success with that. The most innovative on the list to me is NVIDIA. And the irony is, it's the old story of, they worked for 30 years to get to the top, and then now they're suddenly successful. But NVIDIA has been building their GPU market, and they've had a vision of what that's going to look like and where it's going to go, and the place that AI plays in that since day one. And a lot of people are investing in NVIDIA simply because it's the one pure AI stock that they can point to and say, I understand how they make money, And obviously Apple and Microsoft are going to make all and Apple, Alphabet and everybody else are going to make money on it. Tesla's announced that they're going to do it. So everybody's going to make money on AI, but it's kind of the dot-com bubble of the 2020s. And, you mentioned an old stock. Well, I remember when Yahoo stock, you take the price of the stock plus the number of outstanding shares and you multiply that, and you get the net worth of that company, or the top line worth of that company. I remember when they were bigger than General Motors, and I thought, oh, this can never go away. This can never just disappear. That was one of my first lessons in investment. So and that's probably the trickiest part. Which one of the 7 is going to disappear first? Or fall off the list. And I'm not really wild about all the things Meta is doing. With our intellectual property, and I don't know, that it's hard to imagine, but that's probably one of my least favorites on the list of the top 7. But anyway, we'll see where that all goes. This podcast is sponsored by the Small Biz Thoughts technology community. Check us out at smallbizthoughts.org. Forums, templates, and checklists are just the start. Our community includes all of the best-selling books on managed services in all available formats, plus free training, members-only programs, and the best business training available to managed service providers anywhere. Plus, we have weekly live members-only Zoom calls. The average member saves more than 200% of their membership cost each year. We are totally dedicated to your success. Just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you have to go it alone. Join us today at smallbizthoughts.org. It's time for 5 minutes with somebody smart. So I met up with a smart guy, Lucas Acosta from Atlanta. He runs a Mac shop and he is, I guess, the beneficiary of some EOS training and coaching and making his business go Zoom. So here's that interview. Hi, this is Carl. I'm talking to Lucas Acosta. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here.
So let's start with the basics. So you're an MSP. So this is a great success story. So tell us in 30 seconds or less, the history of your life, how you got here, and how you've enjoyed success in the last couple of years.
Sure. Well, thanks again, Carl. Really enjoyed just hearing and being part of the audience on the audience side. So it's fun to be in the show now.
On the other side of the microphone.
Right, exactly. And, we've been in business for 15 years now, and kind of our differentiator is that we are an Apple-only MSP. So we actually partner with a lot of other MSPs who are looking for Apple-specific expertise, whether it's iPad management or taking care of those special Mac users in an organization and making sure their compliance is at the same level as their Windows users. So that's kind of our niche. We're here based in Atlanta, Georgia. We're in a few states here in the United States as well. And what anyone who's been in business in this weird, roller coaster of business knows that you're always experimenting with things, and you're inspired by, podcasts and your communities and books. And I stumbled across something about 2 years ago after many of our clients had been recommending. And as we know, I love this business because I'm always around other founders, other business owners, and we get to share best practices. And I had heard over and over again this thing called EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System. And by the way, I didn't know that James was an EOS implementer. So this is cool. I would love, to be able to pick James's brain. I'm sure he has so much wisdom to offer on this framework. And so one of my clients just said, listen, you need to stop and read this book, Rocket Fuel, which is one of their kind of introductory books. And I won't go on about EOS this whole time, but the reason I'm here on the show, I think that we're having this conversation, is that it happened to click with us. And after trying many things over 13 years, we not only did EOS, but had an EOS implementer. And within the first 30 days, they were already identifying things that were kind of our bottleneck. And even though I consider myself a trusting person, I'm not a micromanager. I learned one of their recommendations to create a leadership team. I learned that by creating leaders with real positions was the one thing that was not doing it, was one thing that was holding us back. And it's not that I didn't want other leaders, like say a director of sales or a director of ops. I just thought we didn't need them, right? Like, hey, we're all grown-ups here. We're all doing great work.
I think that's common with a small team. Is like, look, we see each other every day. Like, we're a very flat structure. So why create hierarchy?
Exactly. And we kind of take pride in that, right? We almost think like the structure is anti-culture, maybe, if I can say it that way. Like, oh, I don't want to become this corporate structure. So, and I think maybe that's why I resisted something like EOS for so long. But I was humbled because, yes, we're grown-ups, and turns out they really enjoyed the structure too. They really thrived knowing what our three focuses are, say, this quarter. And EOS has fun terminology like a rock. So every leader has to have one rock per quarter. or one goal per quarter, and that allows them to focus on one thing. Because before this structured framework, we were kind of chasing the squirrels, right? Like a new backup system or a new security patch came out that needs special attention or something like that. While we still need to make time to do that, what using EOS has done is given us time to work on the business, right? Which is, I'm sure, a term that we're all familiar with. That it's like, yes, we've heard on the business versus in the business. And that's really been a tension that I think it's a good tension that I've had for the last 15 years. There's nothing wrong with going back and forth between on and in. But EOS just gave us some of the how-tos on like, okay, this is all we have to do once a week or once a month or once a quarter to kind of stay consistent working on the business, right?
So small shop, 7, actually, I'd say that's larger than the average shop, but still a smallish business, right?
Sure.
So how much time does it actually take? So when you think about like now that you're dyed in the wool, right? You've been doing it a while. So clearly there's startup time, that's a different animal. But today, how much time do you as a team spend on the EOS structure?
Oh, that's a great question. So little fun history fact, we actually failed implementing EOS the first time because we didn't have an implementer. I thought I could do it myself.
As does, half the population, right?
Right.
And hence why coaches exist.
Exactly. So I'm seeing a trend of humility here that I've had to like shed right over the past few years. And that's, we're founders. We're used to doing things ourselves, and I can figure this out, this new operating system, this new, software. However, it wasn't until we finally hired that coach. He said, listen, you guys are trying to perform a surgery with the textbook on the table, right? That's very difficult to do. So just having a coach just tell you what the textbook is, what needs to be done really helped us for the first short period of weeks. And so to answer your question, what EOS is, it's not this additional thing on our plate. Okay. All they've really done is trademarked running a business, like made a special name for running your business, sort of like how Kleenex has taken over the term tissue paper. Right. Or Xerox with a copier.
So EOS is a brand of running your business.
So then
of best practices, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not additional work per se. However, just to give you some kind of meat to chew on as far as like how much time it's involved, we do one leadership meeting every week. It's a 90-minute meeting. And like many small business owners, I don't like meetings. So I was very hesitant toward this, but it's all templated for you so that you're not wasting those 90 minutes. In fact, you're graded on that meeting. After the meeting, everyone grades you, which is also humbling, so that you're always trying to get a level 10 out of a score from 0 to 10. So there's that one meeting. And the other part of that answer of how much time does this involve, this is going to scare a lot of people, but it's really the truth. I didn't think I needed a COO for the entirety of running my business. It's like, sure, I'm the founder. I guess that makes me the CEO. And then we have like certain specialties, certain directors or whatever. However, it wasn't until using the EOS framework, they have fun, fancy names for it. They call it an integrator. But basically that's a COO, Chief Operations Officer. They say that in order for EOS to work, in order for your business to work, you need an integrator or you need a COO. And that was something that had never really resonated with me. And so what I had to do during this process with the help of an implementer was find my integrator. Turns out there was a great candidate on my team already who absolutely jumped, at the opportunity to be able to do that type of work. And their website, the EOS website, even has like a personality exam to see if they would be a good fit for that role, because it's completely opposite from a lot of founders, right? I'm on the other side of the spectrum. I'm what they call a visionary or a CEO. And they have that exam you take kind of splits you into those two categories. And so it wasn't until having a COO who's 100% focused on the business that we were able to do this. So the scary answer to you, Carl, is that it takes an expensive person 40 hours a week to run EOS. Okay. Let me just put this in context for other MSPs. So sure.
Is the person who is your chief operating officer also somebody who used to be your service manager?
Bingo.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So what you really have, because I think the classic thing is, if you want to be successful, that you get to a stage where you, the owner, put somebody else in charge of the day-to-day operations. And then the best candidate in a perfect world is the rare service manager who is a coach, a father figure, a mother figure,
Yes.
somebody who's good at public relations, somebody who can deal with the clients and the billing and the front office and all the crap that you as the owner have taken on by default because you started the business and nobody else can do it as good as you.
Right. You nailed it. It's like you've been doing this, for a little while. So that, right. And it was actually, he didn't even like a title. So for many years as kind of my right-hand person, it was like, hey, he's director of operations or a service manager, right? He would get the customer service calls. However, going through the exercise, this EOS exercise, he became integrator, which is COO, and it separated the COO role from a service manager role. So believe it or not, those are not the same person. So we now have a separate service manager that is doing a lot of that blocking and tackling. And my COO, my integrator, I know there's a lot of terminology here, is actually in charge of the profit and loss of the company. So he's working with our with four people, director of finance, director of sales, service manager, our director of operations, and me, the visionary. And it is a messy role. So I think actually your service manager may be a great candidate if they are ready for the next step in their career, may be a great candidate for the integrator role. And I would encourage you to at least have them complete that exercise online to see if they would be a good fit, because it is some of that, like you said, the messy, in the trenches kind of work of running the business. They need to be able to thrive in that environment. I always did it out of necessity. However, I learned that I'm much better off leading the direction of the company. Right. And, leading the culture, the HR and new trends and new ideas and, listening to podcasts like yours, Carl, to kind of see where the industry is headed, right? That's my role as a visionary, so that my COO can now focus on running the business.
So we're way past 5 minutes, but let me just ask, so would you recommend everybody do this, or is there a certain level of maturity before it becomes worth the effort? Because clearly there's some extra cost, but the extra cost is really with people who you've already invested in most cases. So,
True.
It's sort of like putting a structure which has some additional costs, which must also have some additional benefits, or you wouldn't stick with it. But so who would you recommend start thinking about EOS for their business?
Great question. And I also afterward want to answer with, how this has impacted us. I think that is actually an important component of what did this actually do for us. So, we were 7 when we implemented this. If you read the book, Rocket Fuel, they say they're designed for companies of like 10 million to 100 million, which is absolutely not us. In fact, we started this when we were below 1 million in revenue. So I think having 4 to 5 people would be a decent enough size where you can start giving people at least fractional roles or dual roles. Because one of these exercises is to put names in boxes of an org chart. And it's okay. Like when I did that exercise, my name was in 7 boxes. Right.
Of course.
I was engineer, sales guy, marketing, everything. And that's fine. Right. And that's one of the first exercises that an implementer goes through is let's just see who is responsible for what. And that helps create it. So that what that does is it brings, even if you have 4 people, it brings focus. So all 4 people know we're going to need help with this next box, or we're going to remove this person, Sally's name, from that box when we hire someone new. And it gives everyone this intrinsic motivation because they can see literally on a page how this company is going to change, and what the new hire is going, which box they're going to fill. Right. So yeah, our implementer, I asked them the same question: are we too small for EOS? Because the book says 10 million and we're not even at 1. And he said, absolutely not. You may not do as many like quarterly interviews. If you're just 4 people, you don't have to necessarily interview them, review them every quarter. But I would say 80-90% of it, a small team can take advantage of. So really briefly, after about 6 months of implementing it, we already saw an uptick. Even our engineers were like, wow, we see a lot of procedures and policies getting done now that we have real leaders with, quarterly goals. So last year was our first year where we did finally break 1 million after about 6 months of being in EOS.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And this year, we're not only at 20% growth compared to last year, but we took, just to be very candid, last year was like a break-even year for us because we hired, and so we were at 1,050,000 in revenue. So we barely broke 1 million, with really not much profit to bring home. However, this year we're currently tracking 6 months in a row at 12% profit. And it's with these individualized roles, each just laser focused on their quarterly goals. It takes a lot of trust, to get there, that they're going to execute too. But it's really allow these ideas to flourish and for them to actually be executed. So that's why, I love to talk about it. That's why what I'm writing about now. I decided to spin up a little blog just to kind of share, some of these lessons that have really impacted us as a small MSP.
Very good. So we're basically out of time, but you're going to send us your link to your blog and to your LinkedIn page so people can get in touch with you. And with luck, you'll get a few more subscribers.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's lucasacosta.com. And thank you so much, Carl, for doing your work on the podcast. We're really enjoying it down here in Atlanta.
Very good. Well, stay cool.
I don't think I'll be able to, but I'll try.
So, any other news that you think is worth talking about as we head into August?
Yeah, I'm pretty, I'm super busy. I love it. I'm blessed. And I get pretty laser focused on Las Vegas next week in ChannelCon. I got more meetings than I have time for. So I think I'm double booked or triple booked. But if any of you listeners are there hearing this, love to, Carl and I would love to sit down and have a beer with you. But it'd be a lot of fun.
I'm in booth 101. So if there's a vendor buying beer, you can always know that you can take a lager to booth 101. Somebody will drink it. So
and you're right there. I mean, 101 is like right there by the grand door, correct, Amundo?
No. So if you go in the grand door, I don't want to be right there because everybody just walks by. But if you turn right, I'm on the next corner. So we're corner booth where everybody has to turn left to get into the actual guts of the show. So
And I've seen your booth. You've got one of the cooler booths, I'm sure, that will be at the show. So
I hope so. And we
I'm
got
looking
got
forward to
cool
this.
stickers, and I'm glad that the sticker thing is good. I posted up on Facebook. The big giveaway at ChannelCon is always socks, right? So, well, socks are good socks. You get good socks at ChannelCon. They're $6 or $7 a pair if you buy 1,000 pair, right? So I'm not giving away good socks. What I am giving away is little stickers with the Mai Tai happy face pattern on them, and stickers of socks. So
There you go.
if you need Mai Tai socks for your laptop or your children, come by booth 101 and pick some up. We also have robot stickers and Mai Tai stickers. So and we're giving away a robot. So please, by all means, drop by booth 101 and we will see you at ChannelCon.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Very good. And then you have another one of your shows. Where's the next one?
The next one is actually out in Scottsdale. So we've got a show and that one's going to be over the top awesome. It's at the Talking Stick Resort and Casino, September 28th and 29th in Scottsdale. So it should be cooled off by then, but it's in a big golf resort spa. A lot of the registrants already are bringing spouses or other employees because it's such a fun venue. I think we've got Top Golf lined up for one of the activities. I know a lot of people are bringing their clubs for Wednesday, but the 28th, 29th, that's a Thursday, Friday. Got some great speakers. ScalePad, Alex Farling is scheduled to be there. We've got EOS workshops that we're working on. I've got Fin Security, Reinvent Telcom, TD Synex. We've got some awesome people lined up to speak from all of those companies. And one of my favorite things, Carl, I was just talking to someone yesterday on the phone and I explained this, and they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. You need to do a better job of communicating what you guys do at these events, James. There's a section where a lot of my customers in the community get up and each quarter, the whole event was really designed around them reporting out, here's who I am, here's how I'm different than my competition, here's what my plan was, like here's what marketing campaigns we did, and here's what worked and here's what didn't. We call that the good, the bad, the ugly. And normally it's the first half a day on Thursday. So the 28th, that morning,
Wow.
we'll have the good, the bad, the ugly, and everybody reports out. And that's one of my favorite sessions because, you hear what's working for everybody. So
Right.
That's a good one to be at. And I'll drop the link out there again. For the listeners, you get a free VIP pass.
Woo-hoo.
It's free of charge. And we do cast things on Zoom, but I always recommend try to attend in person because that's where the rubber meets the road. It's where you can network and form relationships and really learn and not be distracted. So attend in person if you can.
Very cool. And final note, in terms of announcements, the National Society of IT Service Providers has a huge meeting coming up August 9th, all member meeting. They do it once a quarter, but this quarter, the legislative committee is going to report out some super cool stuff that they've been doing. All the committees are going to give reports, and we're going to introduce our new association management company. I am moving to a non-voting seat on the board as an ex officio member and hanger-on and gadfly. Anyway, so do not miss that. Go to nsitsp.org/events and sign up today for the August 9th meeting. And with luck, we will see you there. All right, very good. And that will do it for this week's SMB Community Podcast. Thank you for tuning into the SMB Community Podcast. If you found this useful, interesting, or fun, please subscribe, share with your friends, and give us a thumbs up on your favorite social media. Please check out the show notes at smbcommunitypodcast.com and give us your feedback.